Welcome back, gamers. It's gaming time. Nerdy, are you excited for this upcoming best of three match between Doogile and Anjouu? What are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts? What does the research say?
Yeah, I mean, two very good players for sure. I think for me, of course, the upper seeded player, Doog here, the higher seeded player rather, is the favorite, of course. I think Doogile is just one of those players that's just a joy to watch. He's just so fast with everything. He's so mechanically talented. And in my opinion, there's never been a moment where I've, not considered him a contender. He definitely seems to be pretty good under pressure. I think he has, sort of similar vibes to Rain in that he does try, right? But he has like a certain level of being able to kind of chill out and just focus on the game itself that I think it gives me similar vibes to Rain-X in that way.
Okay.
And for that reason, I think that he's just one of the most well-rounded speedrunners, one of the fastest, and just one of the most consistent. Being a top-level player every single season, both on the leaderboards and in the playoffs, I think just shows that he's easily a contender to win this thing. And so for Anjouu, that's going to be scary, right? Anjouu is
100%.
more,
Yeah.
a bit of an up-and-comer, right? I think Anjouu is one of those people that is definitely, a strong contender out of all of the people within the lower seeded group from the qualifiers. But definitely still scary. I mean, there's never going to be a situation where it's going to be easy going against Doog, right?
Yeah.
And so, hey, listen, I would love to see Anjouu win this. That would be my dream come true to see a new name beat one of the best. But I think it's going to be tough. There's no way around that it's going to be challenging going against Doog here.
1000%. And I think we can throw it over to the player spotlights and just see how good Doogle's stats stack up to the praise he's been given just now. And wow, I mean, look at this. I mean, I was saying, are we going to see anybody crank, the 70-75% win rate area? And this is, 68%, 8% higher win rate than we've seen from the other two higher seeds so far. First ever sub 12 ranked average that we've seen out of the player cards as well. Not the best ranked, single completion time, but 730 is the best PB we've seen. The only former world record holder that we've seen so far as well. I mean, just the stats sort of speak for themselves in a way. Like the praise is warranted, I think, Nerdy.
Yeah, I mean, nothing here. Well, no, there is something that I think is a little surprising to me, which is these players have not fought. They have not battled. They have not raced once. So we don't know. There's no history there. That is, I think, that is going to make this interesting.
No, it is very interesting. And I mean, I think if we throw it over to Anjou's card for a bit, we might see why. Doogile has played 500 ranked games this season. Okay, Anjou's played 270. I see. So not as bad as I thought. But again, if Doogle's spending most of his time in the top 50, or top 10, I guess I should say, only being able to queue the top 50 players, who knows how many of these 270 games Anjouu played in the top 50. Could he have even ever queued Doogile ever, right? Like maybe a couple games, right? I'm not sure what placement Anjouu ended. But looking at these stats, honestly, good ranked average time for a lower seeded. I think Bloons had a mid 14 and Papler was maybe a high 13. This is a mid 13 here from Anjouu, so not too bad. Does have a positive win rate. I think everyone that we'll see here will have a positive win rate.
Right.
But again, 51% versus Dougal's 68% win rate. The stats are not working in Anjou's favor. I will tell you that.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for Anjouu for sure. But I mean, we've seen upsets all the time. And Anjouu is certainly, these stats here, he's not a bad player at all. 1329, like you said, that's not a bad player. So just Doog's gonna need to zone in, and it's gonna be an interesting race here for sure.
Yeah. The cards are stacked against Anjouu, but he's been improving quickly. a name that we had never even seen in the quals until season 3. Don't even think he was top 100 ranked in season 2 or 1, and is now top 100. Fought through the quals, you know, beat everyone else in the quals to get here, and has to play maybe one of the scariest ranked playoffs participants ever, right? Like Doogile season 2 or a second place in season 1. I want to say maybe top 8 in season 2. I think took a bad quarterfinals loss, maybe a semifinals loss. But he's one of our players that has ever made the podium in a ranked playoffs. I mean, there's only been 5 people that have done that.
Right.
Silver being the only person to have done it twice. And Anjou's got to go up against one of them. So we will see how that goes. But I think we can throw it over to our seed pick bands in just a second. The runners have submitted their choices, Nerdy. What sticks out to you here from either player's choice? What do you think?
Yeah, we're going to see the village band there from Anjouu. That is a little interesting. I feel like we've seen a lot of village bands today, and I don't know, that does surprise me a little bit. I mean, I guess people just don't like the maybe the food source or the variants or having to find a lava pool. I mean, there's a few reasons why they might, but yeah, we see a shipwreck ban from Duke. I remember last season we were seeing shipwreck bans all over the place, and this season that doesn't seem to be as true, but it certainly feels to me that has you know, there's still a little bit of hate there for the shipwrecks that remains. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. I think buried treasure first totally makes sense for Duke, and I think we'll see a good race here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also surprised that there's no desert temple ban either from either player. I mean, for any match today so far, it feels like that's the structure you should ban in the overworld as opposed to village, but these runners are not feeling the same way. I mean, maybe it's just too uncomfortable trying to find everything, get everything done in the village overworlds. But I feel like the food situation, especially if you've been watching these matches, it feels like, again, every single game has been determined that the player who just has more food is just winning. Now, again, that does mean, I mean, you're taking less damage. It's just probably mean you're faster in general. Maybe, again, is it correlation or is it actually a thing that matters? Correlation or coincidence or something? I don't know. I'm a stats guy, but it's been a while, so I don't know the right terminology to use there. But you kind of get my point, right? Like,
Totally.
is it something that actually matters, or is it just, you know, a sort of trickle down effect of the player being better, that they just will be better at food management?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's we'll have to wait and find out here. I think buried treasure definitely giving good amount of food, but definitely not an infinite supply, right? So it definitely matters the way that you manage it. And we'll have to wait and find out here.
Yeah, 100%. I think the runners are ready. I think the big boss is ready. I hope the internet is ready. Again, we did all we could to fix it. Sometimes there's nothing you could do. So we're going to hope that it is just fixed. But I think we're going to be throwing it over to the seed in just a few seconds here. Here we go. A little bit of desync, but we will be able to fix that in just a second. And yeah, I mean, 500 elo gap. I think that's going to be pretty standard for most of these matches. A lot of the top players, like I think, yeah, Rala, I'm pretty sure was only 5 elo ahead of Low Key, who's our number 2 seed. A much closer competition all day, or all season, I should say.
Right.
So we will see. But doing the BT, Anjouu stream doing a little bit of buffering. Going to be switching over to auto there. Again, when internet things happen, chat, nothing you can really do. Sort of, they just kind of get fixed on their own. So we are just hoping that that is going to be the case. And so if it is pixelated, it is what it is. We are doing our best to fight through society. So please bear with us.
We can see here. Very interesting.
First try flint from both runners, which is expected. But Anjouu off the island first. This is a lukewarm ocean, so the ravines are few and far between, but no kelp for either runner. Looks like this huge ravine, though. And Doogle's actually going to go to a different one, it looks like. Similar, you know, quality ravine. Definitely going to be fine for both runners, though. But 2x1's coming out, and Doogile is just faster. I mean, a little bit closer of a ravine, but also just the portal speed.
Yeah, has about a 3-second lead, I believe, here on on Anjouu. But hey, I mean, that's still good from Anjouu, right? Like, being only 3 seconds behind is very impressive against
I think
Duke.
you will take that 100%. And it looks like both runners see the Bastion. This looks like... I want to say it's treasure. I mean, no, it's not. It's got to be... I saw some great pixels at the top. This is the backside stables, maybe? I think. And so I think both runners are going to be entering from the back here. Trying to see which gaps are good, which gaps are bad, what we're going to do here. Doogile hitting the left side bad gap. I don't even know, like left, right. This is, I think, more obvious because you sort of look at it from the stables perspective.
Right.
But this is double bad gap. That's maybe why I thought it was treasure. So many triple chests at the top, making the Bastion stand enormous. And we're going to be seeing a fast stables route coming out from both of these runners. A little interesting though, because there's no there was no armor in either of those bottom two triple chests, so or single chests, so it's hard to get a you're gonna need to do some distraction gold, maybe take some damage, you know, the food situation potentially coming in play from both runners. But Doogile starting the double triple route, and Anjouu following only a few seconds behind. Well played from both runners.
You can see, yeah, definitely some nice trades from this triple so far. Already on 8 pearls for Doog, and getting more gold here. Able to get these trades off hopefully pretty soon. Find the fort.
Yeah, I mean, both runners trying to overlap the Pyre as much as possible while waiting for the trades, and I can't imagine, I mean, there's really not too much decision making in this sort of variety of stables. You know, both runners were sort of forced to enter at the same part, forced to do the same route. You know, sometimes if you trade a gap and it's a buried stables, it's like which chests are you checking, in what order, when are you checking them, when are you pearling. But here, this is a very obvious decision making Bastion, which is a bit rare for stables, but it's going to mean that, I mean, not going to be too much variance in the enter and leave time of these Bastion for either runner.
For sure.
Again, guys, the quality is bad because we're playing Minecraft. This is this other game normally looks. I'm kidding, by the way. We just unfortunately have a big internet working against us, so we have the quality low, and we are doing our best until it sort of just fixes itself. If you've ever had internet issues, you know that it just kind of happens. And so we are just hoping that it fixes itself eventually. That's the goal. And if it doesn't, if it continues to be bad, we will look into alternative gaming solutions. But at this point, there's not much we can do other than Prage. But Doogile, I mean, getting to this fort, and I thought there wasn't going to be that much variance in this Bastion, but it looks like Anjouu gets a pearl trade there at the very end, but has to wait so long for these trades to finish that he's 30 seconds, if not a little more, behind Doogile. Maybe he just didn't get as many pigs in the double triple route for whatever reason. Not entirely sure. But Doogile very ahead here. Quality SSV fort. Gonna be able to crank the strays. And it's not looking good for Anjouu, as he doesn't seem to have any idea where he's going for this Pyre. Which is not ideal.
You can see lots of, yeah, I mean,
Already cranking the first portal here from Doogile. Not sure exactly how many rods. He's got 6. Doing the boat eye tech overlap as well, and Anjouu is barely spotting the fort.
Yeah, I mean,
Or is that the Bastion? That's the Bastion. Yeah, Anjouu just getting completely lost in this terrain here. Not sure if he pyrayed wrong or if he, you know, just didn't find the terrain to the fort that Doogile found. But this is now minutes of time loss, and there's really not much we can do to see Anjouu come back and win this seed.
Gonna be a tough one for sure, yeah.
Especially going against Doogile, like what are you really gonna do, right? Like if it was the other way around, maybe Doogile has some room to mechanically catch up. Seed against maybe the most consistent ranked player, like it's not looking good. And Anjouu still just not knowing where this fort is at all.
This is just unfortunate. And
I get it, nerdy. Unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. That's what I meant. But Doog now just, it looks like he's, if I can figure out what's going on here on the screen, it looks like he's leaving the fort and heading towards his second portal here. I mean, it's an unfortunate performance here for Anjouu, just not able to find the fort, not able to progress here, and
he's on 1.5 heart now, 1.5 hearts. Sorry, can't pearl again. Would need to burn an anchor to hunger reset, and it's just, I mean, missed the terrain. I'm not sure how hard the terrain was to find, but it's just that's the one mistake, and it's basically over. You know, like there's really nothing Anjouu can do at this point.
Sure.
Like, I think even if Doogile like gets in and dies during 0, like he's gonna know the terrain so far. Anjouu hasn't even started any progress on the fort, and just the food situation in general, I think it's too much time loss.
Yep.
I think Doogile would have to get lost in the stronghold maybe for minutes, if not even more.
Yep. And you know, with preemptive Doog skills, it's gonna be pretty hard for that to happen. But you never know. Man, look at this though. Anjouu on like 1.5 HP. I feel like he's running away from a skeleton. Yeah, he is. Just one bad arrow and he's dead. Meanwhile, Doog is struggling a little bit in this stronghold, but making his way.
Again, I think he can struggle for like minutes, and still be fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, you just have so much time, and this night does look bad. The fort's on Anjou's screen. He's not completely out of it, but again, we are on 1.5 hearts and no food. Maybe pop the only fire res. Can't sprint anymore, so we're gonna have to build our first portal and hunger reset quickly. But Doogile, I mean, still struggling in the nav section. Not entirely over, but probably over. Okay, so we do have fire res from Anjouu. It's not terrible. Doogile does have to find the portal room eventually. He cannot run around the stronghold forever, but it could take a very long time, and it could end up being an issue. But again, he knows that he's so far ahead. Would have just gotten the message that Anjouu entered the fort and blinded, so can make a pretty good educated guess that he's blinding on 1 rod. Because if you know the speed, like, you're not going to get 6 rods in 20 seconds. And so Doogile knows he still has a lot of time, and especially like knowing that your opponent is going to get the same stronghold that you do.
Right.
You're going to almost have to think that they're going to experience the same misfortune or difficult stronghold nav. Assuming Doogile is not just completely missing a part of this stronghold, right? Like maybe he wasn't in starter and he thought he was off the I Spy, or missed a hidden room down some pathway that he just, the portal was blocking, or some terrain was blocking, or something like that. Really don't know, but he is slowly running out of ideas. See, there's the check. Make sure it is starter. Now I feel like at this point you sort of just kind of give up on preemptive, you know,
Oh,
and you just
there he is.
try to find it, and there it is. Yeah, so who knows why this didn't spike? I mean, literally 5 rooms away from starter, but he does end up finding it. Almost 3-minute NAF split.
Crazy.
But he's going to get in the end. I mean, even before Anjou's in the stronghold, that's how bad the terrain mistake ended up being for Anjouu.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is going to hurt too if you're watching back this seed, knowing that, oh my god, Doogile made a 3-minute mistake. Very rare thing for a top-seeded player to happen, and Anjouu just couldn't capitalize on that.
Like that's kind of what you need. What would the luckiness that that Anjouu needed here, he got in a way, right? Of that mistake that we were talking about, and it's just unfortunate. Like he got the situation he needed, and just unfortunately wasn't able to perform. But you know, he's building his portal, so he's making progress. Meanwhile, Doog is just waiting on the 1 cycle.
And there's the perch.
There's a perch here for Doogile. So
Should be good.
Could be game over. Or not game over, but round over rather.
Oh, went for the 3+1, but gets the 5th explosive out, and definitely not the cleanest of victories, but I mean, I think apart from the stronghold nav situation, that was as clean of a game as you could get. Forwards handled very well, and I mean, just saved minutes on the terrain somehow that that Anjouu couldn't find a way to do that. And that sort of just is how the seed ended up going, and Dougile's going to take a 1-0 lead on our best of 3.
Very good stuff.
As a reminder, we can throw it over to the bracket, I guess, for a bit, but this is our 3rd match of the day. Doogile versus Anjouu. The winner will play Priffin next weekend on Saturday. And Doogile is currently up 1-0 in this best of 3, winning a pretty convincing seed 1 after just Anjouu couldn't find the terrain to the fortress at all. So I think we can throw it over to the seed selection, actually. Just, you know, not keep the runners iced waiting a little too long. And it looks like a Desert Temple seed. I love to see it. Nerdy, what do you think? I mean, it's either Desert Temple or Room Portal. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting pick. I personally feel like it is a little bit risky from Anjouu because it requires more sort of decision making, like we've said before. It's a little bit less kind of consistent, easy brain off kind of thing. You have to be more actively thinking. The good news is that if you do make good decisions throughout, then the mechanics matter less. And, you know, if Doog makes some errors in his routing, then that can give you time save, that precious time save that you need over Doog, and it could work. So it definitely, you know, I'm a little surprised, but at the same time, I think it makes sense. And, you know, I'm excited to see this to see this round.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, is the yapping that we do here really important at all? Because Anjouu does have to win both seeds, right? Like, he's going to have to win Desert Temple and a Room Portal seed. So, like, does it really matter that the order you played in, right? Like, who actually knows? But I'm always one to enjoy a good Desert Temple seed. Maybe it gives Anjouu a little bit of variance, a little bit of potential to gain some time, food situation stuff. I mean, Anjouu was playing the other seed fine. I think the trades were a little slow leaving the Bastion, but it mainly just came down to the terrain, I think. But we're ready to get into it. Ready to throw it into the seed. These runners are ready. Again, hopefully the internet issues are just fixed. The router has been restarted. We did not actually install a fiber line. But hopefully it is good. Very close temple. Village is well in the distance for food, but we will see. Liars? Oh, probably just have to manually change the stream quality back to 1080 and not auto. That's probably my guess. As a resident internet expert, that's my guess. And then it probably will be fine. We did a very scientific speedtest.net thing, and it said it was better. So I mean, guys,
Nice.
at some point there's only so much you can do, right? And we did mostly what we could do. Hopefully we're fine.
It's looking good to me. It's looking good to me. You can already see here there's some difference in the routing. It looks like Doog is going for a rune portal. Meanwhile, Anjouu.
Yeah, I think Anjouu just didn't see this or something. Like, there's no reason to not go for it, but it's gonna give. Oh, and there's the lava pool right there. Like, Doogle's gonna be in on the seed so much quicker, I think. Yeah. And look at this too. He's got. Oh, we have diamonds. Okay, I was gonna say he has 6 iron, and that's not enough for pickaxe, bucket, and light. You know what I mean? But it looks like you have a diamond pickaxe, so it is fine. I thought it was going to be an even worse situation for Anjouu, considering he would have not had an iron pick. But it looks like we're good. I mean, Doogile just, again, ahead in this overworld. He's able to use this lava bucket, too, to kill these cows much faster. Otherwise, you flint and steal them, you know, they run around everywhere. And so he's going to have this cow food. And it looks like Anjou's doing the same thing, but he's just doing it later. Just routed this overworld worse than Doogile. Didn't see the rune portal. Maybe just didn't fully climb up the temple or something, as it is very visible. And I think he definitely has seen it now, but it's almost too late to go check it. And he's just going to do the portal. I mean, there is no looting sword, so not the biggest deal, but it's just... This is what, maybe 15 seconds, maybe a little bit of food as well. I mean, he's got 6 steak. That is pretty good. But we will see. Another fort spawn, too, in the nether. I think we've had 3 of these so far in the seeds that we've played.
Right. We've got...
Oh, quick treasure as well. Wow. This could be a fast seed.
Yeah,
some nice routing.
Different routing though, a little bit. I mean, Andrew's just a little bit behind here.
Yeah, mainly just from the overworld, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad at all, for sure. Like, definitely not. No big problem here. And I will say, you know, think about the last seed, right, where you. Where we saw Anjouu struggle to find the fort. This seed, we just know where the fort is. Especially on a treasure seed where you couldn't use your pyrite. I feel like this could have been bad for Anjouu. You know, to treasure's probably scary after what happened last seed, but it looks this time like, you know, Anjouu should be just fine. Gonna be routing this bastion. Hopefully, as long as the bastion routing goes well, this should be a lot closer as far as the match is concerned. Yeah,
I mean, there's really not much variance at all on a treasure route. You know, it's probably, I want to say maybe even more like linear than a housing could be, because there's just backups in housing, and the chests aren't as centralized. I guess, like, see in treasure here, Anjouu going for this lower backup already on the right rampart before even heading to the left rampart, so there is a little bit of variance. And if you do have to get into lower treasure territory, it can get spicy. But just, you know, playing the seed as normal, the bastion as normal, it's going to be very similar routes. And I think Doogle's going to keep his lead going into the fortress.
Yeah, totally.
Anjou's crushing these backups, though. If the backups are really necessary for obsidian or for trades or something, it's going to look good for Anjouu in this situation.
Right.
Has mined every single backup, and Doogile just has not done that. And I think, I mean, is this only 12 pearls? Yeah, it is only 12 pearls. Anjouu has 13, but that's only because lack of gold block trade. People in chat also saying Doogile has mined all backups. Unfortunately, I don't have eyes to watch 2 screens at once, but people are saying he did as well. So looks like both runners playing this correctly, and Doogile heading to... Oh, the pearl hang. That's actually very smart that he triggered it, though, before, you know, falling down there. But his pearl hang actually sort of working against him, having to head to lower treasure. Pearl hang would have triggered either way. Ooh, Anjouu leaving early as well here, grabbing only 5 gold blocks. I mean, hopefully that's enough. But that is risky. It's going to give him a little bit of an edge, though, here. See how many gold blocks Doogle's going to mine. I mean, I think it is overkill to mine every single one. And Doogile mines 6. Okay, so both runners just trying to get some. Looks like Anjouu is good, though, and should be leaving. And he's now ahead.
Yeah.
Misses a pearl, though. And if you look at the food situation, Nerdy, Doogile killed more cows. And Anjouu had 6 steak, but he's down to 2. And Doogle's got 8, bro.
It's just that same thing once again.
But Doogile is behind. This is the first time that we've seen the better food situation player actually be behind. I mean, it is only by
like a second
10 seconds. Anjou's just, they're both clearing the fort at around the same time. And it's just who's going to, get luckier, finding the spawner, stuff like that. And it looks like Anjouu says, I don't like this direction, going all the way back to where we initially entered, but that's incorrect play. Doogile finds a lower staircase and has unlocked the DLC area of the fort, which will contain both spawners. Anjouu has to completely reroute around the entrance, but he does find one. Wow, exposed as well. I think this is this might be the same spawner that Doogle's at, so they did find it completely different ways. Yeah. There we go. Donut TNT coming out from Anjouu. Doogile just opting for 2. Very, very similar usefulness on an open spawner like this. But I guess you really don't need the extra TNT. This is unfortunately not in all advancements. Speed run, there will be no debris mining after killing the dragon.
For sure.
Just that. But both runners cranking at the same spawner. Looks like Anjou's actually getting a little bit luckier with a couple strays. So it's going to be close here. It's going to come down to the endgame speed, the train nav, things like that. And honestly, Nerdy, like it has in every single seed, Anjouu is 3 hunger bars down on his last stake, and Doogile has 7. So
wow,
if there's a lot of pearling to second portal cords, any more unnecessary damage from Anjouu, we might see a hunger reset in the portal room. I did see 2 mutton in his inventory, so it's not the end of the world. But it looks like he threw out the rotten flesh from the temple. Perhaps, maybe he didn't really get any. I'm not entirely sure, but just not the best food situation. And it looks like he's lost his lead over Doogile.
Oh no, in a cave.
It's not going to be too bad. It's, oh my god, it's Y73 going into 108 mountains.
Wow.
If Anjouu doesn't hit this, he does.
Oh, he does, though.
Is this a better way to exit, though, for Anjouu? Did Doogile not see this? This is sandstone. Should be better terrain, potentially. And he does dig up somewhere that is not as high. So he's out earlier. Doogile not running around the cave, not looking for better terrain. Anjou's eye in the mountain. Wow.
So unfortunate.
And it looks like he's going to build up to grab this. And so that's a little bit of time loss, especially dealing with this soul speed. Can we get a good one eye, though? Not on his screen with an inbot, so we're not sure. And he is going to have to throw another eye. And Doogile, oh my god, the gold shovel from the room portal. Anjou's not going to have this gold shovel. Going to crank the blocks down.
Nice.
Anjouu messing with the Nimbot. And you throw 3 eyes, I feel like you have to grab at least 1.
Wait, look at that for Doog, though. There was an exit to the cave.
Oh, that he just didn't see it all? Maybe Anjouu missed it as well?
The runner saw.
Oh, just more down this pathway, perhaps?
Yeah, like look when Anjouu leaves here.
Oh!
That's crazy.
That is so obvious.
Just missed it.
Wow.
That is hilarious.
Doogile dug up 30 blocks.
It's
and
funny
Anjouu even like went one way.
Us,
yeah. Anjouu went like looked for better terrain too, but just the wrong way.
That's hilarious.
But he's got the rates. Doogile has the rates as well. Both heading to cords, but look at this. Dougile's found much better terrain potentially already, which could make or break the difference here. It looks like Anjou's a bit confused on his terrain nav. Maybe nervous, maybe just not really reading the Nimbot correctly. They really should be at the same exact stronghold. They did blind at the same exact spot, but Doogile found some exit lower terrain here that is just completely crushing Anjou's terrain nav. And we're running out of seed left to play, Nerdy. This could be the decision that gives Doogile the 2-0 victory.
Totally.
Looks like Anjouu found some terrain, though. Might end up being a little bit closer than I thought. 212, 112, and Anjouu is just 13 blocks away. So it looks like he picked up the terrain nav in the back half of this nether post blind split. But he's gonna fall in a second here, I think. No, he doesn't. Very smart. Doogile with the preemptive. Didn't see if his spike was good or not.
It looked okay, yeah.
And
there we go.
wow, I mean, this seems deep into the stronghold as well, and he one-shots this nav. No room for Anjouu to mess around. 4 stake and a gap. Anjouu has to hunger reset. But even if he does, like, even if he didn't have to, it's already almost over. Procliff and Doogile and its front cage. This is very, very hittable. Not sure entirely about the explosive count, but confident enough to be going for the 0. And I mean, look at this. We have a stack of nether bricks. Could you ask for a better building block for 0 in runs? I don't think you can. He's there so early. One extra turn as well. Will it break the bed? No. But it fireballs on that height. Wow. So it does slightly open the door for Anjouu. Fireball because that was just when the dragon was leaving its 0 path. Doogile did not break the crystal. He did not build the 0 setup incorrectly. He just got unlucky with the node heights. So Anjou's going to see this portal room in a second. And if he somehow pushes to 95, he will get the 0 off and potentially win the seed. If he doesn't push for 95, he's taking all this time lost to prep for 0, because obviously you prep for 0.
Right.
And I'm saying all this right now, and I really don't think it's going to matter, because that's just not for Doogile.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, how many explosives does he have, though? 1, 2, 4 beds at least, and an anchor. Okay, I didn't know how many he had to save, and I know he placed 1 anchor kind of on the side there, but it looks like we're good. And Anjouu cranking the 0, going to 91, so would have experienced the same issue that Doogile experienced, and that is another 2-0 victory for the top seed in our bracket. Doogile moving on to the round of 8, and I mean, again, look at these splits. Definitely a much closer seed, though.
Right.
Like, apart from Anjouu not trusting his preemptive spike, this is only a 20-second difference, and that's all the overworld. As you can see, it's literally, it's a 19-second difference on the overworld, and then a 21-second difference on the stronghold. That's 2 seconds in the entire nether and post-blind segment. Anjouu really held his own in the seed, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. Yep. The overworld, and I mean, some of this time loss in the stronghold is due to the bad preemptive spike, but some of the time loss is also due to having to hunger reset in the portal room, something that Doogile completely avoided due to better food management throughout the entire run. So potentially 40 seconds lost in the overworld is just too much for Anjouu to overcome, and Doogile is going to take a clean 2-0.
Yeah, and that's a clean 6-0 so far for the top seeds. They have the 3 top seeds so far have not dropped a single seed in this round of 16. We'll have to see if that continues.